You're now listening to the Something Good Podcast Network. Please press any key to continue.
Come on, baby, do the Loki motion.
Do the Loki motion.
Wow, that's not in there. I'd be mad now.
All right, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Couch Bro-Tatoes. I'm Alex.
This is Cap. Go Balls.
It's going to be an ongoing thing now?
Anytime I have a beer, yes.
All right. And we also got Mr. Morrison with us.
Georgia Bulldogs, son.
Go Dogs. I see how it
fuck
is.
another shitty team. They ain't worth a goddamn.
SEC.
Yeah, exactly. The SEC is like what? It's the NFL.
No, it's the NFL training camp. That's what it is.
That's where all the stars come from.
AKA just Alabama. And that's Chris Morrison on the other microphone.
You know,
Yeah.
You know who I am.
I threw an intro his way.
You know who I am.
Yes, and I'm back from the alternate timeline that where Couch Potatoes doesn't exist without me and instead exists with Mikey Black in my seat.
I see what you did there.
Because know shit about the crack epidemic.
Hey, none of y'all knew shit on how to run microphones was more like it.
I don't care. I had a good time.
Mr. Producer over to my left here.
Hey, man, I like to think we all learned something from that experience.
Like having all the stuff here at once.
Yeah.
But literally a couple hours ago, we finished watching the final episode of Loki, the latest Disney Plus series, and figured it was about time for us to go ahead and do our retrospective on it. It's fresh on our minds, and holy shit, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but that final episode 100% lays the groundwork for this next phase coming up.
It just flew the fuck by, too. We're like, how long is this episode? And you're like, 40 some odd minutes. It felt like 20 by the time it wrapped up.
Yeah, no. And the reason being, again, not trying to jump too far ahead, is it was a lot of exposition.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of jumping around. There was, with everything else happening. But no, there wasn't a lot of jumping around. There wasn't a whole lot of, fight scenes. They only really moved away from areas twice.
Yeah.
They only kind of clipped away between two different places in the universes twice. But after that was really about it.
Yeah, the majority of it takes place in the TVA.
Yeah. But no, well, the whole series does, yeah. So we might as well go ahead and kick it off from episode 1. But before we even get that far into it, overall general thoughts of Loki. Let's go round table, Captain.
I loved it. That's probably my favorite series that Disney Plus has put out so far. And I like... I'm glad that the character of Loki has stuck around this long, and
yeah,
and I love that Tom Hiddleston is still around playing the role. I think he's one of the better performers in the entire MCU, and because of that, I think Loki, his portrayal of Loki, and Robert Downey Jr.'s portrayal of Tony Stark are my two favorite characters in the MCU.
Hell yeah, I can respect that. And Chris, what do you think of this series?
Terrible show. I'm done with Marvel. I'm done with this podcast because you won't let me say that one word I really want to say. I agree with Cap. It was a really fun show.
Yeah.
But
it reminds me of Doctor Who.
Dude, you're not the first person that has told me that either.
But it's Doctor Who with better production.
Yeah, essentially.
Because Doctor Who is pretty much just funded by Big Bird.
Right. Exactly. The BBC TV.
Yeah, it's public broadcast.
Yes.
But it's great for a time travel show.
Yeah.
Because there's no Back to the Future moment. Oh, how do we stop this? Oh, we just kill him when he's a baby. There's none of that. We don't need that. It's a very managed system.
Can you picture Tom Hiddleston as one of the doctors in that series too?
Well, any British person.
Any British person. Any charming British person. It's like James Bond.
Yeah. I can picture Idris Elba as Doctor Who. It just get really serious from The Wire.
It'd be less fun.
It'd be like The Wire.
You're right. No, then he'd start talking like the RZA.
Yeah. RZA. I'm not Doctor Who. I'm Doctor Who'za. But no, it's
Doctor Who the fuck said that?
Yeah, but it seems it's just it had that nice feel of a Doctor Who series, which I love that series too.
Yeah,
but I just love the fact that they talk about time as a tangible thing.
Yeah,
instead of like, oh, it's this bullshit line that sprouts off constantly over and over and over and over that we can fuck it up, and it kind of destroys the whole meaning of Infinity War because they did all that shit for nothing.
but did they though?
You know what I'm saying? Like, it still breaks off at the end. You know what I'm saying? They went back and fixed their timeline in Infinity War, but in the long game that we're going to see in the next Doctor Strange movie, maybe the next Scarlet Witch movie, it's all for naught.
Yeah, but it's still
which is fine because that's coming anyway because money is going to change the storyline.
So, in order to keep money coming in, they got to extend the storyline in a way that's going to keep people engaged anyway.
We're like, come on, dude. I swear to God, we're probably like 5 years before Disney buys Warner Brothers. I
don't think they could. I don't think they can.
They'll kill one of the Warner Brothers and then make the other one watch.
Next thing you know, it's going to be fucking Spider-Man and Bugs Bunny. It's going to be Space Jam 3.
Space Jam 3 with Kevin Durant and Draymond Green.
The reason I don't...
He found Bugs Bunny, motherfucker. He put an elbow in that motherfucker.
The reason I don't think that they'll be able to buy Warner Brothers because Warner Brothers has a stake in DC.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why they would buy them.
Well, I'm saying I think that's why they can't because since
it's not Pepsi
Marvel and I think it is honestly. I see Marvel and DC as Pepsi and Coke.
I could see the whole monopoly rules changing in the world.
Stranger things have happened.
I mean, Disney did change the copyright rule.
Yeah. So
it's only a matter of time.
Disney changed the copyright
Did you hear
rule.
about that one, Cap?
I did not.
Yeah, they changed the copyright rule for themselves.
And when you mean change the copyright rules, we'll get into the series in a little bit, but I'm curious.
Well, it's Disney. It's connected.
When Disney makes something, they have rights to it, right?
Yeah.
Like Mickey Mouse. All things, when it comes to rights, end eventually.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, rights can be split up. Like, if I invest money into the Fill-Ins album,
Right.
I have a stake in it. I can do with, and if they give me creative control, I can do with that album as I please.
Yeah.
But eventually, I die. So do y'all. So our creative rights go to the next person we give them to, and so on and so forth. Well, these things were made by like Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Bob Kane, Ub Works, Walt Disney, all these things.
Folks that aren't around anymore.
These families are gone.
Yeah. And it's usually estates that kind of keep these up and going, right?
The estate of these people. Why don't we hold it? Because it's an income.
Yeah,
it is
exactly.
Because you can't just plaster Mickey Mouse on fucking something and be like, bam, look at that.
Yeah, people forget about that.
So the point I was making, so the way they changed the copyright law was, so Chris was on the right track. So when you do that, everything is within your own creative rights, but originally when the copyright claim was up, it went into the public domain.
Yeah.
You couldn't renew it because they saw certain works after a while you couldn't monetize it anymore, this, that, and the other. It was supposed to be part of the cultural zeitgeist to the point it was now public domain. Everyone was free to use it as they please. And that was even all the way up to like the late 50s, and that's why something like Night of the Living Dead can be downloaded for free. It wound up being part of the public domain due to the certain copyright sign-offs that that George Romero did when he was just trying to get it done, XYZ. That's a whole separate podcast.
Yeah.
But the same thing was about to happen to Mickey Mouse. They renewed it up to the point that they were allowed, and Mickey Mouse was about to go into the public domain. Because you heard recently, like Betty Boop went into the public domain.
And Felix the Cat.
And Felix the Cat did. Mickey Mouse would have been right in line with doing that years ago. But I don't know how they did it, but they're able to get copyright law changed
Money.
to prove. But yeah, basically proving that look, no one should own this IP other than this in perpetuity, other than this corporation that created it. For everything, not only us, but we're going to make a stand on this for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's how they wound up getting it changed. And now that's how, if Disney buys something, they basically own that shit forever until an actual sale is made. It made transactions, honestly, a whole lot easier between IPs.
I just love that mindset where it's just like, who else could possibly, make a business off of this? Who else could, just have Mickey Mouse and, other than Disney? Who else's
and
hands
again,
could do
I could have
this?
had like a couple small details on that wrong, but that's like the overarching thing is they kind of just looked
And
at
it's
it
all
and went,
bullshit.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
It is, because eventually, someone's going to come along and change it for the better. Who gives a shit? But like they're just going to change it.
Yeah.
Just like the MCU is now. It's not like the original first generation comics. No, hell no.
No.
There's too many women.
Times change, right?
But like, you know what I'm saying? It's a bullshit reason to hold on to money.
Yeah.
Forever. It's the forever money rule. You know?
It's the Vince McMahon wrestling argument, which like, who else could have this entire library of every territory and every broadcast ever?
It's the same with the fucking 90s Bulls.
Yeah.
They realize they can't go no further, so they let them all go.
Basically, yeah.
So you can't hold on to a person in perpetuity. That's slavery.
Now it's a franchise contracts and stuff like that. But I think that was later.
He didn't fucking create Mickey Mouse. Uwe Works did. That was
interesting.
And then he went off and created his own fucking studio, which made better movies in the 80s than Disney did.
Like what? I'm curious. Now we'll move on here.
I think he made Dark Crystal.
Oh, okay.
And he made any 80s animated movie, like The Rescuers.
Okay.
He made those.
I thought that was Disney.
No. Who was it? Because Disney didn't do shit in the 80s that people liked.
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of went through a dry spell.
His creation company, his studio, knocked it out in the 80s, and Disney really had to pick up their shit. That's when they did the whole Toy Story, Pocahontas, Mulan. They started doing like...
But yeah, I was going to say, that was all Pixar on Toy Story.
Yeah, but it was non-cracker princesses, you know what I'm saying?
but yeah, I was like that early 90s thing with Lion King and all that. I got you.
Yeah, but it forced them to step their game up.
Yeah.
And I think that's when they realized that, okay, now we have to put rights on fairy tales from Germany and France and Holland and Belgium.
Yeah.
It's like all these
traditional stories that are hundreds of years old.
Yeah, they're owned by Disney.
That's
as
crazy.
we know them. Basically, they're trying to copyright storytelling,
and not the Brothers Grimm versions or anything like that.
Oh no, when like Snow White gives birth to a bunch of kids while she sleeps.
No.
Yeah, that's not weird at all.
You can't sell that to kids.
No.
That's also another alternate universe.
Right.
That's real, motherfucker. What Disney makes is alternates.
Exactly.
It's all happy and ginger, and the dwarves aren't unemployed.
Oh man, but
anyway,
no, we'll
Loki.
go ahead and bust on into Loki here. Episode 1 was Glorious Purpose, where very well sets up basically what everything you really need to know.
Yeah.
Loki is immediately arrested by the TVA after creating his new timeline after the Battle of New York, stealing the Tesseract in the 2012, which I honestly thought that was the coolest bit during Endgame, is when they started kind of jumping through time and they went back to New York, Battle of New York 2012.
Yeah.
And the Captain America fighting Captain America scene and everything else. And I knew I was sitting in the goddamn theater and I saw Loki disappear with that Tesseract, and immediately in my mind I went, that's going to be a spin-off series. It's like, as soon as you saw it, you're like, that's going to be a story.
Let's say with the Mandalorian, you finally see Boba Fett.
Yep.
Oh, he's getting his own thing.
Yep, exactly.
Out the fucking game.
Oh yeah, yeah. So as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Yep, that's gonna happen," and that's where they pick it up. And what's really cool about it is I wound up doing a little bit of digging, because of course, listen to interviews and review episodes and stuff like that
Behind the scenes.
So the director, the director Kate Herron, actually had access to archive footage from not only the first Avengers movie but Endgame, where they reshot some of the stuff. So she had access to all the B takes and outtakes and everything else. So all of that stuff that you see in there isn't like odd CGI recreations. It was B takes and alternate camera angles from those exact scenes.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so I just thought that was actually really cool how not only did it look good, but it's
It gave a new POV of the same scene.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's not a bullshit POV. It's not let's recreate this in post kind of thing. It's no, we actually have that footage. Just pop it in right here. It's just super, 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 super deleted scenes.
Yeah.
Just edited very, very well.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's the same area, so of course.
Yeah.
Well, you could probably take enough B-roll and make a whole new movie.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You could make an alternate cut movie of everything that these motherfuckers have done. So, yeah. So, he immediately gets arrested because he shows up in like this desert area with like these like Jawa looking things.
You mean Mongolians?
No.
Road eyes, as we learned in Discord.
And, and he gets brought in front of Judge Ravonna Renslayer, which does wind up being a really big character later on in the comic
name,
books.
anyway.
Yeah,
Right.
Renslayer.
That sounds like a fucking Dragon Age villain.
I was gonna say that's metal as fuck. Renslayer.
Then,
That's probably a
For
fucking
crimes
Hobbit,
against the sacred timeline.
fucking Hobbit reference from Led Zeppelin.
And then, of course, we get introduced to Agent Mobius M. Mobius, which winds up being my favorite fucking character in this
he's my
whole
second favorite
series.
yeah.
Like Owen Wilson did so fucking good in this role.
I like older Owen Wilson too. You know, it's just kind of like, just
Well, like he's like in the character himself, compared to the main character Loki, you know where he stands because he's like, you're a bullshit artist. I know you are, and you can't kill me. Mm-hmm. Period. I am better than you in every way.
Yeah.
I'm stronger than you. Shut the fuck up and do what I tell you. He treats a former villain, mainstay villain, into a dog.
yeah, without being aggressive or anything.
No. He's just like, man, just tell me a story.
So just shut up. I know.
If you don't stop, I'm going to show you your own snuff film.
Oh, I know. I love that fucking power play. It's just like, good God. And I forget what episode it's in, so I don't mind jumping around to this. At one point, in an episode, Renslayer said to Mobius, why do you like hanging around all these Lokis so much? Something to that effect. And the way the conversation led, did either of y'all think that the reveal was going to be that Mobius was also an alternate Loki?
No, I think when I got to that same point, I thought he was be the end of all the Lokis. Like that's where their line ended. Like they did what they were supposed to do, and he put him down.
Okay,
like a more darker side of Moby. Like I thought there was going to be
a dark twist
because
to
he's
him.
like like in the beginning, he's so nice and cordial.
Yeah,
but so are the villains in fucking Marvel.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
They're generally good idea motherfuckers, and then they just go down that
Poorly executed.
Yeah.
Thanos was right.
Yeah, he was.
Let's bring back that meme from fucking 3 years
but he
ago.
was logistically wrong in doing it.
Yeah.
Logistically, it was bad.
I thought it was just going to be that that Star B character that was going to get killed off.
Yeah, but I will say this: as soon as he told Loki that he was into jet skis, I was like, he's going to die.
Yeah.
He was going to die because anytime you give a character like that, an unknown character that's not franchised, and give them an interest, it's going to tie it to him dying in some fucked up way.
2 weeks from retirement.
2 weeks from 2 weeks from retirement. The Glover thing, or my last day as a cup.
Yeah.
And of course, it deviates so far, from what you kind of think is going to happen earlier in the series. Within the first couple episodes, though, because I think by episode 2 or 3, they had already established that Mobius had a thing for jet skis. I immediately was like, okay, if they don't give a payoff for Mobius for being able to finally go to Earth, see a jet ski, if the motherfucker doesn't say, wow, I'm gonna be so mad. Because I was sitting here going, I was like, as I can see, of course, again, it goes way far off this track, but I could see, they somehow figure out, the corrupt Loki saved the day, and our Loki's like, hey, I've got something I kind of want to show you on Midgard. And he's like, what? He's like, just come with me. Like that, and takes him out to the middle of nowhere in this lake, and he's like, what? Like that, and the fucking jet ski comes up. He's like, wow, like that. And I was just I was hoping they would at least give him that moment. Although,
it was just Loki and Mobius just fucking doing that Batman surf scene.
Tell me you wouldn't have fucking clapped and smiled like a motherfucker if that didn't happen. But of course, he got him. Honestly, I like his payoff for the jet ski better. His little line, I guess. Well, we'll get to that. But no, if it had gone the way I was thinking, if that hadn't happened, I would have been pissed. Now I'm okay, though, because of everything else that did happen.
Yeah.
But something that also happens in episode 1, because again, they only did 6? Yeah, 6 episodes of this. It was the shortest series so far, or the least amount of episodes so far. But in episode 1, Loki comes across that drawer that's full of Infinity Stones.
That was the part that got me.
I loved it because when they first bring him in, he's still holding that son of a bitch.
Yeah, the
And they give
Tesseract.
it to that secretary, and I'm like, that dude's probably got every fucking one of them in duplicate. He's probably takes an infinity glove and uses it to pick up like hot coffee. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what he uses it for.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking like all these people are getting got. Mm-hmm. Because if there's one Loki, it's a time series, so it's interdimensional. So there's other Lokis who got zapped, and they probably had the time stone, the Aether stone, the life stone. Each of them had carried one of the other, and he's just got a fucking junk drawer.
Yeah, he's
with
like, they use them as paperweights.
Infinity stones.
And the moment on his face when he finds that out too, he's just kind of like, "Oh my god, I have zero power or authority here."
Yeah.
Well, see, and that's what I love about it is I took that away from it. And I also took away from it, he goes, I have no power and authority. And he verbalizes the second one that I immediately thought, which is this the greatest power in the universe?
It's one of them, yeah.
Exactly. Like him realizing, because he almost plays the role of us in this episode.
It humanizes him a little bit for a moment.
Exactly. Well, I think it humanizes him throughout the whole series. I think you make a good point there.
They're mortal people. Mm-hmm. They just live longer.
But he has that moment where it's like, the clarity where it's just like, is this the greatest power? Like he's interested too. It's like, what can I do with this? He has that tone to him.
Well, see, and also the fun thing about this Loki is this is not the same Loki that dies at the end of Endgame. He's not gone through that personal journey. He's not gone through everything that our old Loki went through, for him to stick up for his brother in his final moments, stand up to Thanos. This one didn't go through all that. This one is still, trying to reach the throne. So he has to go through basically our 10 years of movies in the span of 6 episodes. He has to go through that much trial and tribulation, and he kind of does, honestly. But just from the moment of him realizing, those stones are worthless, that was the moment for me where I was like, okay, this series honestly isn't fucking around, because all we as fans have been focused on are these Infinity Stones. These Infinity Stones are really some of the greatest powers in the universe. Outside of this, it's only celestial beings that are like stronger than these Infinity Stone type things. And there's only a few of them. And if any of these motherfuckers come down from the mountaintop, we can basically kind of assume this is going to be the end of the movies. Yeah. That kind of shit. So as soon as he picks it up and was like, oh, fuck, I'm even sitting here going, what does this mean for everything moving forward? Because if those stones really mean nothing anymore, and we about fucking wiped out half of the goddamn race with them. Yeah.
Now it's time. Time is the focus on this one. It's more valuable.
I see it more as the Infinity Stones as nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
They're going to be used up eventually, and they do get used up. All right, because the snap does occur. They do break. Eventually, in any game, they do break again with Iron Man. There's no use for them no more.
Yeah.
So that's part of the timeline. Eventually, here in reality, we will run out of nukes.
Yeah.
And then a new, maybe a new species or us will evolve from that.
Chimpanzees.
Yeah. Dude,
DMT,
that is
bro.
not no fucking joke. They are technically in their little stone age right now.
I know.
We need to get to get rid of them. Okay?
Next thing you know, they're riding horses and shooting Uzis.
Yeah. They had an M16 and a net. They caught Charleston Heston.
Yes, they did.
And Mark Wahlberg. But no, it is just... I just see it to a means to an end type situation. Like... When this show came on, I realized very quickly that the movies don't matter. They are just chapters in a big book.
Yep.
And the TVA wrote the book.
Yeah.
And that's how I see them erasing misspellings, mischaracterizations. They're basically Stephen King writing a magnum opus and going back and being like, nah, she can't be white. Nah.
Well, see, I compare both.
So much time.
I compare both this Loki series and WandaVision as super meta talking to us, the fans, through Marvel Studios, because there was that scene in WandaVision where Darcy's character, along with the cop's character, went, So you mean to tell me the universe created a sitcom starring 2 Avengers? The universe being Disney, you know? And then there were so many like conversations of like, oh, only the writers truly know how this story ends. There was like a lot of kind of like winks and nods, kind of making it feel like Marvel Studios, Disney is kind of talking to the viewer.
I don't think they know how it's going to end.
And also, yeah, I think that was their other little bit. They're like, we're still writing the ending. We don't know what's going to happen.
This is a forever series.
Yeah,
exactly.
But that's kind of what keeps it fresh for the writers too.
Yeah, they're going to pull some generation. This is what Marvel should have been back in the 80s. Mm-hmm. This is what, no retcons. No, this is the original Infinity War, when they brought everybody in and annihilated them, the multiverse. Mm-hmm. Same with DC, with the whole Flashpoint series. And before that, the multiverse in their end.
And dude, I feel like they're really working up to that. I think that's going to be the next Endgame.
Yeah.
I think the next Endgame is going to be Secret Wars.
Oh, yeah, because the whole Spider-Man thing is the Secret Wars.
Yeah, so I really feel like all of this is leading up to it.
I just see the Loki series as just what we need to break off the path.
Yeah.
And to just finally assimilate all of Marvel properties together. Mm-hmm. What needs to be done.
So actually, because I feel like we could actually spend a lot kind of talking about the implications of this show, let's kind of, not necessarily speed run, but let's kind of jump through these next couple episodes quick, and then we can kind of talk about everything as a whole, because a series like this, as y'all are even kind of comparing it to Doctor Who, episodes that happen later on kind of talk to previous episodes and everything else. So we'll kind of hit a few important things in all the main episodes, and then honestly, we'll kind of break our usual format and just talk about everything as a whole. I think that may wind up working better on this. Yeah. Some of my favorite shit that happened in the first couple episodes, I don't remember where it happens, but by the time Loki is part of the TVA and they make it back to that Ren Fair, and they're trying to track down the Loki variant, as they only knew it by then. Yes. Yeah. Well, before they even knew it was a female one, just the alternate Loki variant that in the first episode killed all those TVA recruiters, which I was like, oh fuck.
And not Tennessee Valley Authority.
No. Hey. Tennessee redneck motherfucker. Sorry, I had to take it from Chris. I was watching him. His face wasn't ready. I had to take it from him.
Of course, I had to point that out.
They helped create the Blue Ridge Parkway and nuclear weapons.
Yes, they did.
It's a goddamn fact, folks.
Yes.
Look it up. Don't get mad. Look it up. But yeah.
Thanks, Tennessee, for helping us ignite the sun twice.
Good old Rocky Top.
Rocky Top Hiroshima.
And I really liked so they make it to the Ren Fair, and the whole dialogue of where wolf's teeth are, wolf's ears are near, or something like that. It was a callback to like an old classic Norse kind of.
Yeah, he's talking about Fenrir.
Yes, thank you. And I love that whole thing, because you do find out in the end he was trying to trick the TVA by giving them that whole spiel, but it felt very genuine. It felt like he was trying to help them, being like, I know me, and if I was doing this, I would be saying it like this, that, and the other. But then how Mobius immediately was like,
shut the fuck up.
Yeah, he's bullshitting, prune it, reset the timeline. He's like, fuck.
Because Loki's still a trickster in this whole thing, too.
Because they're going to take him on his word at any time.
No, and then of course bites him in the ass later on in the series. But I think they did a very good job at building up the boy who cried wolf.
Yeah.
I think they did a really good job at building that up to the point where he needed to be believed. And for a couple key moments, he was not. And it kind of screwed things up a little bit. Yeah. Or did it?
Boy cried wolf. That's a good comparison. I like that.
Yeah. And and the other thing you were talking about too, of Mobius basically just being like, here's your whole life, motherfucker.
Well, he's going through, and he leaves it. He leaves him with it.
Yeah, just walks out the room.
He walks out the room. That's where Loki does his little escape plan thing, and ends up still back in the same room. And that's where you see him give up.
Yeah.
That's when he knows that time is linear. They prune the branches. There's no getting out of this situation, period.
But then you see him with moments where, with memories of his mother and everything, too.
Oh, yeah, that killed him.
Yeah.
And honestly, and I think that's what made this version of Loki and his character arc so good, is that Loki never saw what happened to his mother. Within the moment, that version of Loki in Dark World was at a bad place. And even when he did find out he accidentally killed his mother, even in the moment he felt sad, but of course he had to bounce back and do everything else he did. This Loki has time to process it and just see that it happened and that it was by his own hand. Yeah. And I think it actually resonated with this version of Loki harder than the main MCU one that we saw die in Endgame.
And I do like how they underpower him in the series.
Oh, yeah. He's like, I'll do it like this.
Yeah. Well, no, they don't, not just that part. If you notice, like in the first Avengers movie, how does he enchant Hawkeye?
Oh, he just kind of does it from a distance. He just kind of waves his...
No, he tops him with the stick.
Oh, yeah, the stick.
The Loki pokey stick.
It's the staff. It's not Loki.
Yeah,
you assume it's him.
Yeah.
But it's actually the staff. That's why he's not able to do the same thing.
Right. Okay, you're right.
So, because I went back and watched, I was like, nah, he got Selvig with the stick, he got Hawkeye with the stick, and that's how Hawkeye's able to, like, bitch smack Scarlet Witch. Yeah. But, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they did plan for that. They did dumb down his ability, because all he does in the whole series that you've seen is just illusions.
Yeah.
And they do a callback to that for Endgame, where he gets choked to death in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, no. The people took screenshots of that fucking scene, and they're like, oh, look, there he is. He's in the background. See? That's where he's at. No, they killed him.
Yeah.
And that's the end.
And I like how they even fully confirm it in this show by, like, as soon as the ship blows up, the end of the reel happens.
Yeah.
And so it's like, beyond confirmation, I almost felt like that was also Marvel kind of going, look, chill with the fan theories. That Loki is dead. Period.
I think Endgame and Infinity War was the nail in the coffin on all the film theories.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I think even this series kind of even went, stop. He's dead. that version is dead.
But like even the next episode where they're still hunting, they go to Alabama.
Yes.
They figured out that Loki figures out that end time events is where they're hiding, because you can't change those events. Those events will happen all the time. Even Loki even proves it to Mobius when he picks up a goat and says, we're demons, we're going to eat this goat.
They go back to Pompeii in 79 AD. And he's just like, we are from the future, and you're all going to die. Nothing matters. Shit like that. I'm losing my shit watching that, especially Mobius. He's like, stop. He's like, but look at the temp pad. He's like, not even the tiniest dot. He's like, I was correct. And then everything blows up behind him. And I'm just like, God damn, I love this series.
And they figure out that
the variant is hiding in all those end time events.
Yeah, all the apocalypses. That's what it is.
Yeah, the one time apocalypses for that situation.
Oh, and I love. I don't have the notes on it, but I love the scene where Mobius, directly after that, as soon as they come back from Pompeii, Mobius and Loki are sifting through files to find all the big world-ending catastrophic things that happen. And he's like listing off all like these very close to like we could possibly see in our lifetime, like apocalyptic events. They were like the yada yada of 2049, and I'm like,
well, that's what the Alabama was. It was like 2049.
Yeah.
It was a hurricane.
Yeah, 2050. In Alabama,
and that's fucking plausible because hurricanes are getting worse.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here going, I'm like, quit throwing out times that I'm gonna see. Like, bitch, it's 2021. That's only a few years away, y'all.
That's just Disney plotting it out.
Yeah,
plotting out the empire while they create tornadoes and shit.
And actually, talking about plotting stuff out, I swear to God. And again, I don't have the exact date on here, but they do mention it in the show, and it was in a time in which all three of us are going to see in our lifetime. If by the year 20 whatever comes around and we don't have kablooey gum, I'm gonna be mad, because you know what, that is so fucking simple to make. We can make something good for you, gum. We can rebrand gum. That's online. Anyone can do it. If they don't do a limited run of Kablooey gum during that year,
Oh, don't worry. Loot Crate will be listing that shit out. You'll get that at the Marvel Studio thing in Disney World. It's all going to be there.
And that's fine. If they make it like a Disney World exclusive item, that's fine. They just need to make it. They don't show this gun and don't shoot it in fucking 30 years.
Chekhov's gun.
Thank you.
Yes.
Don't show us the gun and not shoot it in 30 years. Please make a limited run of this bubble gum for us dumb fans like me.
But like, they go to Alabama.
Yes.
To the Rox Mart or whatever.
Yes, correct.
Roxy Mart.
Which is basically like their version of Walmart if it was ran by Lex Luthor.
Well, like, it's not even that. It's not even that. It's what's going to happen when Sam's Club or Walmart or the Waltons buy out Costco. They're going to create mega stores, and that's going to be the end all be all.
Yeah.
You want to buy a guitar and some eggs?
A guitar and some eggs.
Rockstar. You want to buy a gun and some eggs? Mm-hmm. Rockstar. You always need eggs. But like, it just seems like that's what it's going to, and it's a perfect analogy for now. The whole show tells you that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
While the hurricane's going on, we find out that the Loki variant is still hiding there and is enchanting people.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Too.
It threw me for a loop first time I watched it, and I thought it was kind of an interesting line where the guy was like, "I'm hunting. I'm looking for plants."
Yeah, I'm looking for a house plant.
And they're like in the middle, and he's like, "Well, it's a sale."
Yeah.
But then that one line, Hunter B-15 was like, "Could it be you?" He goes, "I would wear a suit."
Well, that's when you realize that that's what that Loki can do.
Yeah.
It can't morph.
But it can enchant.
And that goes on to the other Lokis we see.
Oh, and he even explains that a little bit. And he was like, in one of the first couple episodes, they were like doing the big debriefing before. It was the debriefing before going to the Ren Fair, and they explained the power, and he's like, no, you've got it wrong. An astral projection is actually, and he will actually them like a motherfucker, and like explained his full powers. And
I would have loved Patton Oswalt to show up dressed as Ren Fair, and he's like, guys, I need you to get the fuck out of here. We're going to be doing a show in here. And Patton Oswalt, who does the voice of MODOK. Great show, by the way.
I've not watched it yet.
Perfect.
I've watched a couple clips on YouTube. It does seem funny.
It's fucking perfect for Robot Chicken does Marvel. That's basically what it is.
That's definitely the vibe I got from it.
That's awesome.
It is perfect. And Patton Oswalt, like Kevin Smith, being a fucking nerd.
Oh, yeah.
Like, when this show came out and they were talking about the multiverse thing, the first thing I thought of was Parks and Rec, where he shows up as a citizen of Pawnee. He's
Yes!
like, and that's when the Time Lords come and Darth Vader and Batman team up to fight. And I'm just like, oh my God.
That's just him in real life.
This is a kid after a tornado trying to sew his comics back together. like, look, I made a new one. It's an omnibus of bullshit. Like, this is where Spawn meets Wolverine. So fucking metal, bro.
The Batman's parents died.
Yeah, he killed him.
But yeah, like you said, we find out this Loki variant does have the power of being able to enchant people, which throws our Loki for a loop because he cannot do that. And he's like, wait,
without the help.
Yes, without the help. Well, we don't find out until later. But I found that reveal very cool, though. Kind of the jumping between bodies thing and like building up that suspense of who is this main alternate Loki, the superior Loki they keep referring to almost. Yeah, and then winds up being the little lady Loki that kind of looked like Black Widow in the trailer.
A little bit.
That was the fan theory for a long time. Like that. Like, oh, he sees Black Widow for a few minutes. It's like, I didn't buy that.
I didn't fully either, but there was a part of me that wanted to, being like, well, he is supposed to be jumping through time.
Yeah.
She was sucked into like the whole soul stone, a soul for a soul kind of thing. Maybe he found her in an alternate dimension kind of thing. But no, I just wanted to be in Sylvie, Lady Loki.
Yeah.
And episode 3, Lamentus, is where the variants arrive with the TVA to find the timekeepers, but is confronted by Loki. Use the Tempad to teleport them both away from Renslayer, and they arrive in 27 2077 Lamentus 1, in which that apocalypse event was going to be, the whole planet was going to get fucking destroyed.
And in this episode,
the moon was going to land on it.
Yeah.
And I love how like she freaks out.
Yeah, she's like, of all bullshit places you could have sent us, this is the most bullshit of bullshit.
but this is kind of like the backstory on that character with this whole episode. We all kind of
this is where she lived.
yeah. We get
This is one of the many places she lived.
and we kind of see their dynamic, and they get to know each other, and we find out that Loki is bisexual.
Well,
It's hinted.
Yeah, it's hinted at, but it's also a situation of like, if you
He's
understand.
also DB Cooper, so I don't really like.
Right. Well, I was gonna say, I mean, if you pay attention to the Norse mythology of it,
Of course,
all, I
yeah.
mean, it's like that
They
was
could-
already kind of there.
Yeah. This
Well,
is
any mythology back then is like they fuck whoever they want to fuck.
exactly.
So, and I loved all the memes of being like MCU people freaking out that Loki's bi, and then like the guy like smoking crack in the background being like me about to tell him he fucked a horse.
Yeah, but it's like you don't see that in the Marvel universe a lot. I just thought it was kind of cool, you know.
It is, but it's like, so I'm of two minds of it. So it's like, it's very cool that they've wrapped it in it, trying to pull in the classic Norse mythology, you know, and not kind of tiptoeing around it. But at the same time, it also feels a little transparent for people that don't know Norse mythology and are looking at this as like, Marvel's just being woke and making one of our main characters bisexual and shit like that. So I'm just like,
Because it's core, like you're selling these
They're
movies to
gonna be really
kids.
they're going to really be upset when they find out that Black Panther's black. Say it.
But no, you see, I remember watching this episode going like, if he fucks Lady Loki, this is going to be super weird. And then that's what keeps alluding to later on in the series.
but is it though? It's just masturbation.
I guess, but
Everyone's
With
gone
more
through.
steps.
more steps.
I don't know. I think this is easier. I don't know.
You're starting to sound like Jason Mewes in Strike Back. Where he's talking about,
me?
No. When
I'd
he's saying
fuck me.
like, if she was a goat and you
You
were a goat.
Oh yeah, that was
This
close
dude
too.
was fucking goat,
Yeah,
bro.
that was Strikes Back. Sorry, yeah,
Yeah,
Strikes Back.
that's what that sounds like. That argument. He's like, you're telling me if there wasn't a lady cap,
You wouldn't fuck you.
this guy said he would fuck himself. It's like gross, bro. Like, that's how it's coming.
Ew.
Well, that's how it sounds. Dude. It's like, ugh.
You just kind of seeing it like happen in real time. You're like, and they're both, and she's kind of like, not buying it or anything like that. They're both trying to out trickster each other.
Well, they're trying to. Everything's amped up because they're trying to get to one spot.
Yeah,
Because the thing's broke.
it's supposed to be like a Titanic, or not a Titanic, but like a big arc that's leaving
Yeah.
the planet
Yeah.
before it explodes.
So actually, real quick before they jump out of the train, and that's where the tin pack is broken and everything. Cool fact about that train scene: I was watching an interview with Sylvie, Lady Loki. I forget the actor's name, but I was watching an interview with her, and they were like, "So what was like the hiring process? Did Tom Hiddleston give you any words of advice for hopping in the MCU because the fans can be crazy?" She's like, "Well, actually, the whole hiring process was very strange." She goes, "When I tried out, I didn't know I was trying out for Disney or Marvel." She goes, "But the scene that I tried out for was the train scene." She's like, "But we were in a traditional train and I acted across someone else that wasn't Tom Hiddleston." She's like, "But the lines were almost the same." And it was interesting. So if you go back and rewatch that scene, there's not a whole lot of like cosmic type conversation.
No,
it's very
it's
much
very-
just two people talking on a train, and that's where that scene you were talking about happens, Cap,
Yeah.
where she was like, is there any sort of lucky princess or prince in your life? And he was like, maybe a bit of both. That whole scene was just two people conversing.
Yeah.
And that's what she tried out with. And she was like, and she was shocked later on that it was going to be like part of a Marvel series. And like when she saw the whole thing together, she's like, wow. And she said that kind of leads credence to why Marvel works.
Yeah.
Is not
Sophia-
only do they give, what?
I was going to say the actress's name is Sophia DiMartino.
Yeah, and great actress too, really great. And but I think that's what kind of gives these Marvel series and Marvel as a whole kind of the different feel than everything else does to a bit, because not only do they give you the fantastical adventures, but they have no problem slowing it down for a second and kind of giving you a real story and just like real heart to heart between characters, giving them an actual like story building moment.
That's been the whole thing with Marvel since day one. We've kind of talked about that, where you want to make characters that are relatable, even though they're fantastical beings.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, how in the world are you going to be able to relate to
Superman,
a Norse god of mischief? But it's like in odd ways, by the end of the series, some of the lines he's giving sounds like anything anyone would say to someone they care about, kind of shit. And you're like, holy fuck, I'm finding myself caring and relating to a Norse god. And it's just like, congratulations, Marvel.
Who was the big bad in a few movies.
Yeah, absolutely. And so at the end of episode 2, she teleports away. Episode 3, they get the 10 pad, and she breaks it. And then the scene, kind of like what Chris was talking about, I thought it was cool. It felt very much Titanic. They were running, trying to get to that really big, spaceship. And like right as they fucking get to it.
Well, it's also what I like about it is the unchained shot. So
I like that too.
So the unchained shot is a continuous shot that isn't chained together like, let's say, a Bourne movie, which is faux fighting that's clipped together to make it look like they're fighting. But it's multiple cameras linking up at once, which we can thank Netflix for that, because they put the money into the camera that does that kind of shit.
Oh, no shit.
So if you watch the movie Bright, there's a perfect scene where you're looking at Will Smith's face. He pulls his gun. You don't see it. But then he pulls the gun, turns around a full 180, and starts unloading his gun on these 5 motherfuckers trying to kill him. It's a total unchained 360 shot, because not only is it on his face, it follows him and then backs out.
In that whole Michael Keaton movie, I forget what it's called, wasn't there a whole Michael Keaton movie with him and Edward Norton that was kind of shot that way?
Yeah, well, it's a practical thing, because like Django is an unchained.
Yeah.
That's why it's called Django Unchained. But another euphemism. But that's a weird but great way to shoot stuff. Mm-hmm. Unchained shots where it's continuous. Like even the fighting has to be shot 360, and we have to hide the camera.
Yeah,
because you can imagine how hard that is to facilitate that. Not only that, but link up the shots. Because the one Netflix invested in is an arm. It's a giant robotic arm.
Okay.
With a 4K type cam on it.
And you got to choreograph all this.
Yeah, not only that, but you got to choreograph it with a giant robot snake filming you, which is fucking terrifying.
No, but I fully agree. I think that's also what just leads that very well, because they're running through that city and everything, and it's not jump cuts. It's like you're running along with them, and it's like you're just following them, and it's it's very epic and large and just very good.
Kind of like a spy movie almost, where you have to like bounce around, or a zombie movie that's filmed a certain way.
Yeah,
like we have to keep moving. Like kind of like Saving Private Ryan was the same way.
Yep,
it was continuous shots.
Birdman was the one I was thinking of.
Oh yeah, that was a weird movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so basically that's kind of how episode 3 ends, and then episode 4 immediately picks up with a flashback.
Yeah, of her.
To of Lady Loki getting captured by the TVA, which unfortunately we never find out what her Nexus event was.
Nope.
Being existing. That's all
that's what she says. But again,
Nexus,
it's a Loki too.
They catch her too quick. They go too far back.
Thought crime kind of thing.
Yeah. So like. What is it called? Minority Report rules. Mm-hmm. Oh, you thought about killing that motherfucker, so we're going to arrest you down. Mm-hmm. So, like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, because
that's when I realized the TVA was bullshit.
Like because in that same episode when the two of them we're jumping ahead a little bit in the episode, but that's fine, because again we're going to talk about the whole thing as a whole. But yeah, when they were finally kind of getting up to the point of meeting the timekeepers, and she asked Renslayer, she's like, "What was my Nexus event?" She's like, "I don't remember."
Oh yeah, that's fucking infuriating.
Oh my god, that was ice cold.
Like, the way the TVA works is these agents live forever.
Yeah,
eons.
We hear that in the last episode.
Yeah, they live for eons, untethered by time. Go wherever, whenever, to see whoever. You know what I'm saying? They are controllers of their lives in a sense. They're the freest people in the whole Marvel universe technically, but they can die. They are mortal. But they don't, because they live.
Loki survive.
Yeah, but they live in that TVA, where time does not pass. Mm-hmm. It's a
they don't age or anything.
No, they're the center of the loop.
Yeah,
so they're not affected by the outside events until Loki shows up or the variants show up.
Right.
Which It's all planned.
Right?
Fuck.
It's like, it's so much of it just really does kind of like get like, what the fuck near the end of the series, but in a good way, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the only way that the TVA was able to even find our two Lokis on
Lamentus.
on the Lamentus was because they wind up sharing a connection.
Yeah.
You know, they hold hands for a second and they cuddle and they're like,
Well, she's different and he's different. Like, she's the only female Loki.
Right.
And she's the only one with that power. All the other Lokis have a different power.
Yeah.
In some various form.
But I
not like
find it
that.
interesting. They were just like, we've never seen a spike like this.
Yeah.
Yep. So they hop in, grab them, and then of course they get separated. Renslayer primarily has Lady Loki, and then Mobius has our Loki.
And that time loop.
The time loop was great. You conniving.
They bring back Lady Sif.
Yeah.
Who's the only one that wasn't killed in the Thor movies that Thor knows personally.
Yeah.
Because all the the Warriors 3, they're all dead.
Yeah.
Sif is the only one left. And I've only seen her on one other Marvel property, which is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And like, it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
So like, I'm glad she's back because I know she's going to show up in Love and Thunder.
Totally.
And then we get that moment where he just kind of admits, because he wants the loop to stop, or like kind of have her stop slapping the shit out of him when
And
he goes
kick him
like,
in the
hey,
nuts.
when he's just like, hey, I'm sorry. I'm a narcissist. I crave attention.
Then she kicks him
This is
again.
what happens, like, she pulls him up and she says, you will live forever alone. It's like,
Yes.
God damn, just slap me. Shit.
I know, and that's what I loved about it. It's just like every which way this motherfucker turned, he was getting some sort of lesson in one way or another. I'm just like, God damn. And the Mobius fucking walking in like a gangster. He's like, hey, Loki.
How you doing, buddy?
Your nuts crushed yet, bud? But yeah, this is the episode where basically he finally gets through to him and he's like, look, the TVA has been lying to you. You are all, variants. You've all been taken from different timelines. And he doesn't believe him for a bit. But eventually it does get in his head, and that's what I liked about Mobius's character is, he eventually did kind of listen and fall into it. And that's where they give the fucking line that I love, best goddamn line in the whole series, is when he's finally like, look, if we're going to do this, we've got to do it right. They jump back to the fucking TVA and Renona's fucking standing there. And he's like, oh, hi. Yeah. I got all the way down here before I noticed we swapped temp pads by mistake. Yeah. What's up?
Yeah.
Like that whole super tense
It's all
scene.
because of the agent that got enchanted.
Yeah.
They have to put her down.
Because apparently she lost her mind.
Yeah, because she realized she's a person
Yeah.
and not a creation.
Yeah, and when he checks the temp pad, when he swaps it out and like sees it, and she's like speaking very coherently and everything else, and sees that Renona was the one that like stopped the recording and everything else, he's like, oh fuck, there's a lot going on here that I was unaware of.
Because Lady Loki, the way she enchants, and like one of her powers is to pull memories.
Yes,
that
she
are
can't. That's there. I'm glad you brought that up. Yes, she can't create anything. She can only use what's already there.
Yeah, same as Loki when he makes illusions.
Yes. Yeah. So she can't create false memories. She can only use memories that are there and hijack them and slightly, kind of modify them, I guess. But, she can't create any false memory, which I thought that was an interesting trait, which is what really set all of these people down the path of trying to believe shit, is because they were seeing real memories. And, yeah, I fucking love that scene though with Mobius. Because earlier she was like, if you want to be anywhere, where would you be? He's like, I can be. She's like, you know what I mean, motherfucker.
I want to see her pull a memory with Owen Wilson's character, and it just cuts to him and Luke Wilson just kind of sitting together, just kind of just talking quietly to each other, going like, yeah, wow, yeah.
But then when he fucking busts out the whole, you know where I want to be? I want to be wherever I came from. Maybe I had a family. Maybe I had a jet ski. And as soon as he said that, I was like, yeah, motherfucker, yes! For some reason, just that one little bit just made me so fucking hype when he was he had that personal realization of, maybe I did have a jet ski. I'm like, yeah, you did, buddy. You deserve one. And then, yeah, exactly what you said, zap. It's I knew in my heart of hearts he wasn't fully gone, but just for that split second, I was just like, God damn it, no! He's supposed to have his jet ski. I don't think he's on his way to get it.
Have y'all ever been on a jet ski?
No.
I have. It's fun as
I
shit.
would say I've never done cocaine, but I imagine that's what cocaine feels like.
I have been on the back of one before. It is a lot of
I've been
fun.
on the
Yes,
back
they
of one.
are.
I've never drove one.
I've never driven one.
Oh,
no.
I've driven one. It's fun as shit.
So you're sitting here going like, yeah, buddy, I get you.
It's like I learned about this episode because of a fucking meme.
That's why I don't go to the Reddit or anything like that.
Well, like I do every day, but like episodes between 2 and 5,
Yeah.
I all saw like oversimplifications of the episodes, and one of them was Owen Wilson on a fucking jet ski and a tombstone and like 2 other pictures. And I'm like, well, goddamn.
Oh, I know. Like I said, I really did wish he had gotten his little jet ski moment. But hey, this was good enough for me.
Yeah.
And then, episode 5 rolls into. Well, actually, no. Sorry.
Well,
Before we even go into that, we forgot. I skimmed over it. Yeah. Renslayer does take the 2 of them on down to meet the Timekeepers.
Time Lords.
yeah.
And I was already pretty stoked to see that because they had already been hyping that up. I was already aware about
Well, they
the
kept the
time.
comic look and everything.
Oh, yeah.
They did kind of like a soft, like kind of like a transition for it. Like you don't know where they're going, and then the elevator opens, and then you're there in front of them.
Oh, yeah.
You're in Atlanta, motherfucker.
So it's like I was already pretty hyped for it, but as soon as they spoke, I knew something was off.
I didn't see it until the green one spoke.
Yeah,
That's when that's when I caught the.
and you know why? It felt so non-Marvel.
Really.
To me, it felt so not their usual, and that's what threw me off. So I really did sit here going, if this is what they decided to do with the Timekeepers, wow, maybe COVID hit this. Maybe this was the area that COVID kind of hit. But then, as soon as he fucking chops off a head and they were robots, I was like, oh, fuck.
Which
yeah,
actually,
no wonder that felt so weird as they were trying to make it
It's-
feel weird. This wasn't usual Marvel.
It's
Ooh.
the Wizard of Oz rules.
Yeah, Wizard of Oz, man behind the curtain.
Yes.
But like even that, I was surprised they went that way because I knew they were going to subvert it a little bit because the Timekeepers do exist.
Yeah.
They're part of like the hierarchy of power in all of like the comic series of like the retcons and everything, and they're like probably like 4th in line from the top. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of like the Eternals, they have a job to do, or kind of like the Watchers,
Yeah.
It's all them. It's like a variance of that. I was surprised they did the whole robot route. It's
Yeah.
not like the Wizard of Oz. Like there's a man behind the curtain and he
Right,
just
right.
dips.
Yeah.
Which I would have loved that. That would have been fucking hilarious.
There's something with the,
Fuck.
with the greatest power in the universe can't make it that easy.
No.
No, definitely not. And and around that time, that's when Loki winds up getting zapped. And then Sylvie zaps herself after talking with Renslayer for a little bit.
And many minutes.
Yes. And
Miss
then
Minutes.
Miss Minutes.
Miss Minutes.
Best creation of a side project ever.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
A
yeah.
Southern Belle.
Hey y'all! Welcome to-
Basically the paperclip from Microsoft.
Yes. Yes. Clippy.
Clippy. That's what she is. She's a helper, but she's also omnipotent and not mortal. Because you could touch her. She's tangent.
Yeah.
She is tangent, but you can't kill her. Because Loki tries, and she's like, "You little bastard!"
Stop it! Stop hitting me with this fucking jet ski magazine. Yeah.
And before somebody says anything in the comments or anything like that in Discord, voiced by Tara Strong, who does Harley Quinn and all that, and the
Yep.
cartoons.
And they even gave her
all
her
that.
own character in the Teen Titans.
Yeah.
Named Tara Strong.
And
I almost saw her. At
she was also
Comic-Con.
one of the
yeah?
Powerpuff Girls, wasn't she?
Yeah, she's
Yep.
she's the Powerpuff Girl. She's
Yeah, that's what I
Bubbles.
thought. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like
Don't ask
probably,
me why I know that.
I think she's like one of the most wealthy voice actors probably in the.
Oh yeah, right up
in the
there
world.
with John DiMaggio.
Yep.
And so after Loki and them get zapped, the post-credit scene was Loki waking up in what we now know as the Void and being alerted by boastful Loki, kid Loki, old Loki, and alligator Loki.
I love Alligator Loki.
I love alligator Loki.
was great.
How do you know he's a Loki? How do you know he's not?
It could be the long con,
Yeah.
but then that'd just make him more of a Loki.
And they're just like, ooh.
I know. Yeah, so jumping into the episode, so outside of alligator Loki, which wound up being everyone's favorite, what Loki was your favorite that we saw on the Void?
The old man.
I liked him. I like President Loki too.
Yeah, President Loki was cool.
I like old Loki just because it's the original costume.
Yes,
But it's
yes.
also what Loki could have become when he realized, because he's the most like self-aware Loki.
Yeah.
Because he left. He dipped.
Yep.
He survived Thanos and lived out his days somewhere else. And only because he stepped back is why he got caught.
Yep.
He was lonely. He just wanted to see his brother
again. Yeah.
And that's the same thing with Ragnarok.
Yeah.
They're still brothers.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a thing there. That's why they have to fight to stay together in the series.
Mm-hmm.
And he dies.
Yeah.
And I love Loki's. Well, how did you stop Thanos? Oh, I turned myself into a piece of trash.
And that dude was in Rise of Skywalker too.
Yeah.
Yep.
That dude's a famous actor.
Yeah, Richard Grant.
Yeah, he's in a lot of shit.
No, and as soon as he started explaining his backstory, a part of me, until I really started processing the earlier Loki episodes and really thinking about, okay, well, when he got choked, that was like the very end of the time strip and everything else. Although now, thinking about it right here, right now, with how much the TVA was alive, I guess this might still have a little bit of credence. That Loki, Old Man Loki, might have been our universe Loki.
Could have been.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is exactly for what you said. It seemed like he lived his life exactly the same as the main MCU Loki did, all the way up to Endgame, Ragnarok. And
I think the only reason he didn't get caught and was able to live out to be old Loki was because he had no effect.
Right, but what I'm saying is, so I think that might be the Loki from Endgame, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
but
I think that might be that Loki. Like, he may have truly not died. He may have truly made himself a speck of dust, and we may just never see that MCU Loki again. But Old Man Loki may be just that final little footnote of, hey, the Loki that we saw die actually didn't die. He actually lived his life out, and this is what happened to him. Now we're following first Avengers Loki on his path, but hey, here's our dude and what happened to him.
The only way I can disagree on that is because that Loki, Old Man Loki, can create a tangible environment, which this Loki, Tom Hiddleston, cannot do.
He had to learn to do, right?
Yeah, so Tom Hiddleston can't do that. He can only make himself appear, disappear, and look like someone else. He never at any point makes an environment onto itself. You know what I'm saying?
That's very true. Do you think maybe that's something that he could have learned after the fact?
Oh, yeah, but it also goes to, because he learns enchantment, don't he? Mm-hmm. But it also goes to the story that the Lokis are telling each other. Mm-hmm. We're all different.
Right.
Our powers are scattered among each other. They're the story of Loki is all these things.
Yeah.
But they're divided in powers because they have to be. Because if not, he'd be omniscient. Mm-hmm. He'd be a god.
Right.
Just like Thor. But even he's chained a little bit in the Marvel Universe, because you can't have people that are too big and strong. You can't have an Omni-Man walking around.
Can't have two of them.
Knocking people's teeth out. Because they think they're dogs. But it seems like that was his thing. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, he fought the Avengers to an extent. Mm-hmm. He got caught. I believe it was the same timeline and a variance in a way.
Right.
A variance.
Yeah.
But that's why he's wearing the old costume. So the Iron Man he fought was more bulkier.
Right.
The Hulk he fought was possibly a little bit grayer. Mm-hmm. Captain America is a little bit more campier.
Well, hey. If that's the case,
that's gonna be hilarious.
I wonder, and I posed this in our Discord about the time this episode comes out last week. But what if I just said one of the Lokis? But what if that Loki was like the Tobey Maguire Loki?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, that would be really interesting to find out. That was actually part of the Tobey Maguire X-Men universe that was being started up before the Sony reboot.
Yeah. Kid Loki could be part of the Fantastic Four universe because he killed Thor, so Thor has no reason to be on Earth. Avengers can't assemble, so on, so forth.
Well, see, I wonder if they might bring him in for Young Avengers that they've been kind of planning out.
Cool. I love that, though, why he's there. His next event, I killed Thor.
And you can even see it on our Loki's face where he's just like, oh, shit. Fuck.
Like, he did the one thing they couldn't.
Yeah.
But, he did it, and it's like, how? And you realize it could have been like a child fucking accident.
Yeah.
In the heavens. That's all it
Yeah.
is. It's like he probably just stabbed the dude by accident. He probably tried to think he was a snake, and probably he cut me, But in this one, he stabbed the fuck out of me.
And talking about other just little what the fuck moments in there, something you brought up before recording that like almost no one missed, but it still just made me go like, holy fuck, is when they're going down into their little underground bunker thing.
Oh, you see all
we see all like
Easter eggs.
Yeah, it's like Easter egg city, man, as they're like going through the dirt.
Mjolnir.
There's fucking Mjolnir, and right next to Mjolnir is fucking Frog Thor in a jar.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck yes, they paid off that whole thing there where they're like, you turn me into a frog, you turn me into a snake. So it's like they did the whole, it's like they finally paid that off. And supposedly, MCU, like Marvel Studios, like confirmed it. There is a deleted scene of MCU Loki versus Frog Thor. Like apparently he gets out, and like Tom Hiddleston filmed it, everything where he has to fight.
Oh, I want to see that.
A little Frog Thor.
Oh my god!
I
gotta watch that.
I don't know when they're going to release that.
I don't know, but I hope they do. I really do, because I think they've been talking about releasing a few of like the WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier deleted scenes.
Have Alligator Loki, Frog Thor, and Rocket Raccoon just
Oh my god,
going on animal adventures together.
Best fucking scene was when Alligator Loki bit President Loki's hand off. I'm just like, fuck yes.
That was ruined in a meme. Remember the cat meme?
You got to get off Reddit.
But like, remember the cat meme? The woman yelling at the cat. You know that meme?
Oh yeah.
It's President Loki pointing his non-hand, and it's Alligator Loki. It's Alligator Loki like.
Holy shit! I've not seen that. That's great.
Oh, dude, the memes are great. And you know what's the funniest part about that was? It was that 4 meme set. It's like, hey, describes episode 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
Or 4 or 5, whatever.
Right.
And like, it was that the cat, no hand Loki.
With the alligator Loki.
And then it was the 3 Spider-Man pointing at each other.
Yes.
And then it was that.
Yes.
And then it was like a cloud with a dog face in it. And I'm just like, God damn it. Like,
That's good.
This is actually going to make sense when I watch it.
Speaking of clouds with a dog face, at the very end of the episode, they're taking on, what's it called?
Elias.
Yeah.
It's like Goliath.
Yes. And Elias, I thought was
The
pretty.
G is silent.
And,
She's solid, motherfucker.
I didn't know anything about Elias beforehand, but after watching a couple YouTube videos, essentially what Elias was is he's been part of the MCU before, not really used like a guard dog like he was in this, but he was kind of like his own entity and power next to the Timekeepers and He Who Remains, who winds up being actually
The big
Kang,
bad at
Kang
the very
the
end of
Conqueror.
it.
Yeah. It's like he was kind of like among the ranks of Kang and the Timekeepers and stuff like that. So I thought that was a pretty cool inclusion, and something that shout out to a Weekly Planet for mentioning this. Cloud technology has gotten a lot better. Cloud technology for villains has gotten better. It's no longer the fucking like Fantastic Four cloud.
Oh my god! Or it's just like a little, just like looks like fucking the Pokemon Ghastly or whatever.
Oh, that's great. Chris is showing us the meme. I love it. But yeah, no, I thought they did really well with Elias, and I thought they did pretty good kind of showing the powers of it. Like when the Philadelphia Project ship got dropped off, which, side note, we did talk about it earlier with the DB Cooper. We kind of talked about, I love all the real world things they're wrapping in with this show, like the mystery of DB Cooper actually being Loki.
Yeah.
And the Philadelphia Project, the ship actually did disappear and it showed up in the void. And like you see like a traditional flying saucer like stuck in the ground and shit like this. Like all this like true, like, you know,
I want to see that movie.
Exactly, yeah, like
There's
all
a
this
movie about
our world
about
shit.
Philadelphia Experiment. There is a movie.
And dude, if the MCU fucking made it, it'd be fucking great.
I'd stick to like Steven Spielberg making that bullshit.
But yeah, so I just thought it was really cool, like all the little real world things they kind of wrapped in to kind of give it almost a little bit of grounding and kind of give a little bit of answer to our real world mysteries. He's like, oh, it was Loki.
Like Mobius loses his shit. dude, you were DB Cooper. That was awesome.
I know. Even he's just like, fuck yeah, dude. He's like, why? I lost a bet.
But he was
trivial.
so cool. Like, he could play a movie about DB Cooper. It could be him.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's got
Tom
that,
Hiddleston.
Yeah, he's got that look. And it's just like, we don't know. The only thing we have plausible know is that movie Without a Paddle.
Yeah.
And dude, and what's really interesting, I didn't know this about Tom Hiddleston. MCU was basically his first major role.
Yeah, he just
when-
kind of
when it
blew
comes
up
to,
after that.
Top billing, yeah.
Yeah, when it came to top billing, because he had only been in a handful of movies, kind of like as a B character and not even like a lead.
He
about
plays
to
a
look
Nazi in
Yeah,
a movie that I really like, Conspiracy. That's a
Yeah,
really
I
good
watched
movie.
like this 20-minute Vanity Fair thing where he kind of went, those movie stars all kind of like break down their whole careers.
But I will say,
he did one recently, and he talked about like 2 movies before joining up with Thor, and I'm like, wait a minute. What was his career before that? And I looked it up. I was like, wow, he was kind of an unknown before
that was
the
the great
MCU.
thing about the MCU back then. You could hire unknowns. Mm-hmm. That's the whole thing about Thor. Everybody's like, "Oh, this movie's gonna suck." These guys, who the fuck is Tom Hiddleston and Chris Hemsworth?
Well,
Yeah.
think about this series. It's Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston and a bunch of actors, we really haven't heard of.
Yeah, Renslayer. I've only seen her in one other thing.
And even Owen Wilson, what's he been in recently of note?
I'm sure he was a big paycheck, though.
Yeah, so it's like even he kind of like dipped out for
It's
a
kind
good
of like
handful
DC.
of years.
It's like DC hiring Brendan Fraser to be that robot guy.
Yeah.
But like even Sylvie, I've only seen her in another movie or another show called
Yeah.
Into the Badlands.
Yeah.
And that's all I've seen her in.
I'm looking at Tom Hiddleston's filmography as we speak.
If you find Conspiracy, that's where he's a Nazi.
What is it called?
Conspiracy. It's a really good movie. A lot of British people dressed really crisp like a Nazi.
I was thinking of the Mel Gibson conspiracy theory for a minute.
No, not that one where he chopped off his thumb.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a lot of Shakespearean stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's all those British people.
Yeah.
Like even the guy that played old Loki.
He was in the
Shakespeare stuff.
He was in the King Kong movie that came out a few years ago too.
Yeah.
Skull
Skull
Island.
Island. That was a badass movie.
And he plays Hank Williams in a fucking movie.
Yeah.
I saw the lights.
And then Old Man Loki creates his version of Asgard, which is a little bit different than the
Yeah,
Asgard we
that's
were
what I was
used
talking
to.
about. Like, it's the tangible outside.
And he creates that. And was something else that one of the videos I watched noted to this that kind of slipped past my radar, but after thinking on it, I was like, ooh, that is a nice touch. Old Man Loki, what did he say his Nexus event was?
Leaving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he got lonely. He was thinking of his brother. Well, in that moment where he was creating a distraction for our Lokis for Eliath, there's a couple lightning bolt strikes when he's creating Asgard. Lokis don't create lightning. The only reason the lightning was there is he was thinking about the god of thunder, his brother. So that was even a nice little touch that even showed Old Man Loki, even in that moment, while creating Asgard, created a few little bolts of lightning hitting the ground as a tribute to his brother. That was just like, oh damn, that's really cool. I like that.
I do like the other Lokis, like even how elaborate they are. I would have liked more info on the brawler Loki.
Oh, boastful Loki.
Boastful, yeah. He had a hammer,
Yes, that looked a lot like Milnor.
but it looks like it was like
I can't say it.
Mjolnir.
Thank you.
But it looked like it was Hackney made. You know what I'm saying? It looks like it's made of an I-beam and a wrench.
Or actually, hell, that might have been the Tobey Maguire universe Loki because they kind of changed so many character looks in the Sam Raimi universe.
Yeah, so it's all going to mesh eventually, but
Yeah.
I would have liked more backstory in some of the other ones, which were hilarious.
totally.
I mean, as long as Disney is around, I'm sure we'll get a version of that at some
Disney
point.
will be around forever.
Oh yeah.
Right when I get my Prime home and my Prime meal every day.
And then the final episode is essentially they finally make it through Eliath because they were able to enchant it together. So our Loki finally learns a new power of enchantment. And I always thought that was kind of a cool little sequence anytime I saw Sylvie do it because it kind of slowed it down and really kind of
When
showed
she
her
first
diving
appears in
into
the
the
void, she
mind.
slows down and realizes, oh, I can grab this motherfucker if I want
Yeah,
to.
it's like she almost was able to get it, but she couldn't
What'd you
quite
think of,
get the grasp.
What'd you think of Mobius's Pizza Planet?
Oh, I loved it.
Oh my God.
I loved it.
I was like, is that a fucking Toy Story reference
Yes!
in a goddamn Marvel universe?
And as soon as I saw it, I was
Disney.
like, I love it. I
I
love it.
think it's hilarious because the pizza's just wagging back
Yep.
and forth.
Yep. As soon as I saw that, I was like, they have the power.
Yeah.
I'm not mad.
I wouldn't be surprised if the kid Loki was carrying a fucking Woody doll around. Or a Buzz Lightyear. He's like, you know how hard it is to find these damn things?
And now, heading into this, I think in the back of our heads, we all kind of felt like it was going to be like Kang the Conqueror or something like that because, big bad.
I didn't have a clue.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Who did you think was in the building?
A timekeeper of some kind, like because that's what we've been teased the entire series is the timekeepers or the man behind the curtain of the timekeepers.
Right.
Just that's been the big entity.
Okay,
around
so
the whole
just
thing.
no connection to anything, just a brand new character type deal, kind of like what we got, but just a timekeeper instead of
Yeah.
Kang kind of thing.
Yeah, because I'm not as familiarized with this lore as you two are.
Right. And who did you think was in the castle, Chris?
At first, Dracula.
I know that was the first thing out of his mouth as soon as we saw it today. He's just like, "Is that Dracula's castle?"
No, what happens when we watch it? We all watched it before we started recording.
Yeah.
And he says it's going to be Miss Minutes, and then what happens? They open the door, and the first thing we see
y'all.
is exactly.
What would have made it better is if Miss Minutes was voiced by like Dolly Parton.
That's kind of what old homegirl was going for anyway,
Yeah,
right?
that nice Southern accent.
Yeah.
And that middle South fucking sound too.
It's like this thing about Disney. They can't afford Dolly. Actually, they probably afford Dolly twice,
They
but
probably
still.
bought Dollywood. Called it Disney World 3.
But yeah, so just Miss
Featured
Minutes is who
Donkey.
you thought was going to wind up being in it,
Oh, I figured she would be because like we don't have a good goodbye for her.
right?
I figured she was going to be in there, but the way the like place was looking, and it looks like a Dracula's like a monster, like an old Universal monster castle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was unsure for a while, and then I kept thinking and thinking, and I couldn't think of anything. A hilarious one for me would have been if it was literally Doctor Strange just sitting there, like,
I've been waiting for you.
You again, like you again.
Yeah, like motherfuck.
or the one, what is it? The one above all, which is the tippy top of the Marvel universe, which is
Yeah.
actually Stan Lee, but that's what it is. It's Stan Lee, but it's like the one above all, not the one that remains.
Yeah.
But
Which actually, interesting note, the one who remains was a completely separate character in the comic universe, but it seems like they're kind of combining the two together,
they're-
which isn't a bad thing.
they're optimizing.
Yeah, exactly.
They're both kind of like the one above all and he who remains. They're both kind of like the same.
Well,
That's,
there's like a tenet to it. Like everyone has a job in the upper echelon of Marvel, kind of like
Right.
the Eternals. Eternals, the Watchers. Oh, we don't look. We just watch. We don't touch.
We observe.
Yeah, we don't. If we touch, we don't move. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
basically God.
yeah, but like that's it. But it's separated.
Yeah.
In jobs, like okay, you're in control of time, you're in control of existence, you're in control of destruction, you're in control. Like in the Marvel comics, if you look at like the boss levels, basically of like a video game, the one above all is like King Koopa.
Right.
You know, he's the tippy top, and the one that remains would be like one of his kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, that's a good way to describe
the one
it.
you beat before Koopa.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So it's going to continue for a long time.
But I love that it's Kang, though. I do love that. Hey, cool. That we got a new character that I don't know much about, other than that he's more of a Avengers / Fantastic Four villain than anything.
Yes, absolutely.
Did you catch what was in the trash heap? There, I know you was talking about like the UFO.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you see the Fantastic Four tower in the trash?
Yeah, no, that wasn't actually the Fantastic Four tower. That was the Avengers Tower, but it had the Rock's Core logo on it, which does have a tangential Fantastic Four connection. But we also got a very odd one in Kang's speech, but we'll get to that. What I thought was in the castle was Loki.
Yeah, that would have been hilarious.
I thought there was going to be another Loki.
that would have been cool. That'd
The
be kind of fun.
oldest Loki,
Yeah.
the superior. Because remember, also they kept referring to the superior Loki. I thought he was going to be the superior Loki,
Well,
and it was going to be a situation of they're like, oh,
Well, it would have been
and then like keep peeling it back even further. That was the superior Loki. Then you find out, what did I say earlier? Mobius was actually a Loki variant. All of the TVA were Loki variants, and like this was just like overrun by different Lokis, and he had finally harnessed the power of being able to use all his alternate hymns, and how dare one of the alternate hymns fucking come after him. And this whole thing was just to keep alternate Lokis at bay. That's almost where my brain kind of went with it.
I saw the whole this was all planned thing coming. I saw that because no omnipotent being would let them get that far.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's a dog on a leash. It's got a finite amount of space.
Yeah.
But I think it's a means to be set free. Mm-hmm. So the whole argument is two options. You two can run the timeline, cut down who you need to cut down to keep it perfect, or you could kill me and really fuck it up.
Yeah.
And they chose option B.
Or Sylvia chose option B.
We get that whole fight scene, which we'll go over. But
Yeah.
I think he has this weird little smirk about him when he talks about, I had to fight myself. I had to destroy versions of me that are so fucking powerful. And I think he wants that to happen again. I think it is... Because he says, I fibbed a little.
Yeah.
I think his little fib wasn't that. I think his little fib was, I want you to turn me loose. Because I've killed all my variants. Now I'm the one above all. And I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
Now let's bring back the multiverse war.
Yeah, because what does he say? As soon as she sticks that knife through his chest,
I'll see you later.
See you soon. See you later.
Yeah, and which is actually a very terrifying comment from that person, from a being like that.
Yes.
It's like, I'm across time. I get that vibe a lot from that shitty Terminator movie Genesis.
Yeah.
Where John Connor's talking. He's like, no, we're trapped together, motherfucker. We are always going to exist, no matter who tries to kill us. Forever.
So to work off the conversation you're talking about, one of the things I mentioned that we'll discuss further, which is we got a very odd Fantastic Four connection. So let's really think about this whole conversation. So the only reason we know he's Kang the Conqueror is because Marvel did this whole press release at the start of the year, and they announced that actor was playing Kang the Conqueror in the Ant-Man Quantum Leap movie.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason we know he's Kang the Conqueror. He only went by the one who remains in the episode.
This is Family Matters, not Quantum fucking Leap.
And the reason for that is he even kind of references it in the episode. He goes, names, I've gone by many different names. And it's because the entity that winds up being Kang the Conqueror has gone by multiple different names in the comic books. He was a celestial being that, was in charge of a lot of shit. And then Kang the Conqueror was in charge of like a couple different universes and like all this shit. And exactly what you said is like a Fantastic Four type thing. But when he's giving his explanation of himself finding the multiverse, finding multiple universes stacked on each other, that scientist from the year 3000, whatever the hell he was talking about, was a descendant of Reed Richards in the comic books.
Okay.
So there's this odd little thing where we don't fully know who he is and how he's connected, because in the comic books there is a Kang the Conqueror connection. Woo, say that 3 times fast. To the Fantastic Four through Reed Richards. But it was Reed Richards' grandson that found the multiverse link in the year 3000, whatever the hell. Yeah. In this show, they're saying that it's the He Who Remains character. So is he actually a descendant from Reed Richards also?
I guess we'll find out when Disney buys the Fantastic Four.
They already have. They've already announced it.
When they make the good movie then.
Yeah, they've already announced that's going to happen. But yeah, so I wonder if that is going to be some weird little connection where he actually is a Reed Richards descendant.
I think we'll come across it. But
yeah.
What kind of puts the nail in the coffin for me, though, is when Sylvie pushes him through the door.
Yeah.
Loki through the door. Mm-hmm. And she sent him back to TVA.
Yeah, let's talk about that moment.
But what she did, she killed old boy, the one that remains. And when he gets back, we're thinking, oh, fuck, all right, so now the TVA knows the timeline's cracking, blah, 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 blah. But he runs up to Mobius and old girl, and he's like, look, we need to do this. We can't stop it. We need to call everyone back. And it kind of kicked me in the stomach a little bit when Mobius is like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
And I'm just
that
like,
floors you.
It's like, it's already happening.
Yeah.
That ball is rolling.
yeah. So now, which TVA is this? And then they pan to Kang the Conqueror statue, which he is even exposition wise, foreshadowing, when they walk into the room, the foyer before that room, there's 3 statues. One is broken.
Yep.
That's him. I believe he killed those 3, created the multiverse war.
Talking about the timekeepers.
Yeah, the timekeepers. I believe he dropped all them motherfuckers one by one, created his own fucking system, created the multiverse war, won it, and now wants to do it again, like a petulant fucking child playing Monopoly.
Damn, you might be pretty fucking on that one. I like that. That's
Chris
a
is
pretty
Marvel, and best Marvel.
Watch it happen.
Star Wars,
I am
best Star Wars.
I am the sacred timeline.
I'm the one above all.
I'm the decider.
I am the decider, motherfucker. Oh my god, I see that. That would be great though, because we had talked about it, about the 3x3 D&D chart.
Yeah.
The chaotic evil.
Exactly.
That's what he is.
Well, see, this is what I was kind of leading on to. So it's like he was talking about the multiple versions of him. Those multiple versions are the different names he went by in the comic book. So I don't think we killed Kang the Conqueror. I think when Sylvie put that knife through his chest, created Kang.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because at that moment, that's when you see the main timeline branch out hardcore.
Yeah.
And
when they start the threshold, now there's a time limit. Now we're playing with, because he feels it. He's
Yeah.
like, well, fuck.
so this is what totally made me go crazy when I watched it. I think we saw the multiverse happen in real time, even at the TVA, because if you dissect exactly the way that scene went down, because I paid close attention to it when we watched it tonight to make sure my thought was correct. Sylvie pushes Loki through. He sits there, contemplates what's happened. Sylvie then kills him, kills Kang, or the character of Kang. Then we clip back to the TVA, and that's when we see Mobius and the other agent talking about there's no turning back now. Who said anything about turning back? That tells me those two are still within the timeline we've been watching, because they are responding to something they started. We can't turn back now. If they had been under the different timeline, why would they be wanting to turn back?
Yeah.
Those are characters talking about everything we just witnessed. Then, when it clips back to Loki running, there is a moment where we don't see or hear anyone. And then agents make their appearance talking about making their way to the infirmary. Armory, thank you.
Yeah.
All of a sudden that happens. When we've seen him running for a good bit, not running into anyone, all of a sudden then there's that announcement and they come running through. Then he meets up with Mobius and the other agent, and then that's when they say, who are you? What department are you from? Are you an analyst? So I think we saw in real time universes merge. And I honestly think that's how they're going to wind up setting up, and why they've delayed releasing the trailer for the new Spider-Man movie. I think the Spider-Man movie is going to be way less convoluted than we were thinking.
Yeah.
I think motherfucker's just going to wake up one day and all of a sudden Doc Ock from fucking Tobey Maguire universe is going to be there, and fucking Electro from Amazing Spider-Man 2 is going to be there, and he's going to be like, what the fuck? And then he's going to run into Doctor Strange and be like, Loki, fuck shit up.
So this whole series is exposition to like a whole series that's going to happen with
Phase 4.
every character that's going to be in all the next few
Well,
movies for the next 5-10 years.
Well, that's all these series are. They're exposition for Phase 4.
Yeah.
And I think it's so fucking smart, because it's the best way to tell these stories.
just say
Because
like in
all
Star
of these
Wars.
episodes of Loki together would be longer than Endgame.
Yeah.
But we needed all of this to properly set up what's going to happen. So we got a little taste of it with WandaVision. We saw a little kind of glimpse of it maybe in, Falcon and Winter Soldier. But then like this took all of that and cranked it up to 11 and went, things aren't the same anymore. They kind of messed with the idea of things not being the same. No, things are not the same anymore.
I think it's the whole deep impact with the Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see an evil version. I think they're going to do a reverse House of M, where she creates mutants.
And dude,
instead of getting rid of them.
And you know what? I think that's going to be a perfect thing because who else but Sam Raimi can create a House of M storyline for Doctor Strange? Because that's who's directing it, Sam Raimi. So
I can't wait to see that.
Sam Raimi doing Doctor Strange. Holy fuck, that's going to be so cool.
Cross the whole Spider-Man and Venom stories together with Tom Hardy and whoever's, I guess, Tom Holland.
Yeah.
The Tommy trilogy, I guess.
Yeah.
But
and see, and that's why I still
see, the multiverse can be fun.
Yeah.
In the comics, it's hilarious because they're stacking shit on top of each other.
Yeah.
They're retconning characters, and that's where we get the new 52 in DC or the new 52 in Marvel. We're going to retcon the story. This is how he ends. This is how it begins. Aunt May's 105. Aunt May's 75. Aunt May is a solid 28.
No, I was going to say, Aunt May just gets younger and younger with every Spider-Man.
Yeah. I can't wait for, Scarlett Johansson to play but no, she's too old. That redheaded girl from It.
There you go.
But I just see this not working as good.
Really?
I think Phase 4 is going to be our Iron Man 3.
Really? See, I feel like it's the opposite.
They're going to be gems. Don't get me wrong. Love and Thunder will probably be fantastic because Natalie Portman's coming back to be Lady Thor.
Yeah.
We're going to get the Valkyries back. We're going to get a whole new series of characters. The new Miss Marvel is probably going to be good because it's going to add the other Marvel character, Camilla Khan.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be well done. They have a Bible's worth of information about fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah.
As a standalone. So they could pull whoever the fuck out of the universe for that.
Yeah.
Same with X-Men, the Fantastic. That's all I'm really waiting for. If Marvel can make Fantastic Four a good movie, I'll be satisfied.
Yeah.
Because no one has.
Yeah.
No one has
For
made
20 years.
No. Cronenberg made a fucking Fantastic Four movie that was hidden for years.
I forgot about Cronenberg.
Yeah, you can watch that whole thing on YouTube. It's crazy.
I just might.
And the horrible story of those poor actors who got conned into doing that shit. Oh my God.
There's a whole hour-and-a-half documentary on that shit on YouTube.
The Fantastic Four you've never seen.
That.
The Fantastic Tragedy.
Yeah, watch the documentary first and then the movie.
I have a VHS with a preview on it.
With
the original trailer.
Fuck yeah.
Of that movie. If I could find it, I think it's at my grandpa's house, but if I could find it, it's on an old 50s movie.
I love it.
But no, man, it's just what the fuck,
Yeah.
There's so much we're going to end up watching, and now it's getting to the point I told y'all, I'm burning out.
Yeah.
On some of this stuff,
I can understand. I had those moments too.
There's nothing I can watch. I was in the hospital Monday. That's when I watched all of Loki.
Damn.
That's when I watched the first episode when it came out.
Yeah.
But all the other ones in the hospital.
Damn.
I caught up on other stuff. I watched The Bad Batch. Not bad.
Yeah, I hadn't even tried.
It's neat. If you like the Rebel thing, it's neat.
Is there anything important to the story that's happened that I would give a shit about?
Yes, when it comes to the new Stormtroopers.
Okay.
Because they elaborate on the new Stormtroopers.
Got
the
it.
New trilogy.
We'll talk about that on the off episodes, yeah.
But
right.
But I watched Black Widow. That was a fun movie.
Yeah.
But other than that,
but why are you worried about Phase 4 then? It sounds like you're giving it a whole bunch of positives. You basically listed off every property and said you're excited for it.
I'm not excited for the Multiverse of Madness in the Spider-Man movie because I know they're going to try to mindfuck you early on, and I don't like that shit.
I do. That's why I'm excited.
Then it's 1,000 memes show up of theories and bullshit.
Again, get off Reddit.
Kiss my ass, cat. All right, I don't have a guitar to occupy my fucking time. Okay, I have Fallout 4 and Reddit, and this fucking podcast.
I'm gonna watch this Fantastic Four fucking Cronenberg shit.
Oh my god, it's hilarious.
But no, I'm honestly
coolest
really
looking
looking
thing.
forward.
The coolest looking thing ever made because it's practical effects and they did it right.
Okay.
No, yeah, it's
The rest of them look like
right.
shit.
Eh.
The other ones look like
They did it.
They look like action figures.
They do. They definitely look like action figures.
Say, we're gonna take the guy that made Scanners and make a fucking
Yeah.
Fantastic Four movie.
But honestly, I'm excited for this next phase because of that gut punch we got at the very end of they're not going to drip feed the multiverse. So I would have been worried. You know what? I feel like I would echo your sentiments a little bit more if at the end of this we didn't get the gut punch we did of, oh, the multiverse has already happened.
Yeah, well, it's a kickoff, yeah.
Yeah. I think if they had left it with a, what's going to happen now? I don't know, but I guess we're going to have to see. Click kind of shit. I would be worried because then it's going to leave each movie up to its own way of creating what that multiverse is. So, say in the Spider-Man movie, we would now have to set up how did Doc Ock and Electro, it's like, this is the worst kept secrets in Hollywood. They're going to be in the film. How are the two of these characters part of our current MCU timeline? How did that in the multiverse work? Did they jump through a portal like Doctor Strange did? You know, how did...
I fucking hope not.
Yeah, so I'm just like, well, exactly, how would it have happened?
They retconned.
But I feel like at the very end of Loki, they tell us how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just going to be there.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm kind of excited for it, is they've now created their scapegoat of exposition. We don't have to explain it. Watch Loki. Watch that final scene. Shit's different now. Guess what? Spider-Man's going to wake up, and he's going to have all these people around him, and he's going to have to slowly figure this shit out. And same's going to happen for all these characters. I think that's why we're getting Lady Thor.
Yeah.
I think by the time we kick into Love and Thunder, we're not going to see... Here's a theory for you. All these Phase 4 movies are not going to be continuations. None of them.
You got to be brand new with a lot
You
of
think
them.
we're going to be brand new retcons?
I think so.
You have to.
I don't think any of these are going to be continuations. I think we're going to kick into Love and Thunder, and the Thor that's in that movie is not going to be, quote-unquote, the same Thor we've seen in all the others.
We're 15 years into these movies now, and you got to sell it's a whole new generation probably at this point that's getting exposed to these movies.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's why we're getting a Lady Thor. I think we're going to jump into a universe where we're seeing Lady Thor become worthy.
Yeah, Natalie Portman.
Yeah. And it's going to be just
Did you ever read the stories of why she became Thor?
No,
It's really sad.
I didn't really follow the Thor and Iron Man were probably the two storylines I wasn't as familiar
Iron Man goes
with.
off the rails where he becomes omnipotent, like a god.
Oh yeah,
But
no.
like,
Yeah.
No, I think those are the only two storylines I didn't follow
but no,
as much as a
she
kid.
catches cancer
Okay.
and almost dies, and Thor's like, I can't do it, so Odin strips it of him and gives it to her, and because she is worthy, because she knows what inches of death is, like,
Right.
But the problem is if she doesn't turn back to a normal human being, she'll die. So it's basically Deadpool rules.
Oh, and speaking of, I think this is how Deadpool gets into the MCU. You know what?
Multiverse where he's new Slayer 69.
Yeah, honestly, I think it may wind up being some little situation where, say, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, they find some way to clean up the timeline and everything else, and like at the very end, Deadpool kind of shows up. He's like, "Ha
Yeah.
hey, I'm the one that got away," kind of shit. You know, just some little catchy thing of being like, you know, thought you could get rid of me. Well, too bad.
He's the Bugs Bunny kind of,
I'd like to see him be the new Stan Lee.
Oh yeah, like a little cameo.
Yeah, I think that's where he could live in the MCU, is making his little cameo, showing up, or or being called in to be part of the crew. Like,
Even
really,
if it's Ryan Reynolds.
oh my god! Imagine an Avengers movie where they're having to call everyone in, and he shows up, and he's like, "Yeah, I guess I'm here," you know. And
He would just sit there. He wouldn't answer the phone. He'd let it go to fucking voicemail, and he'd let the machine get it. You know what I'm saying? Because he would have a machine like a prick.
Well, see, that would absolutely work. But I would also love to see him show up, act like he's going to be totally in it the entire time, like almost kind of like a background character. Like he's not even talking much. Like he's just there nodding along, just like, you know, all the main characters are giving their expositions of whatever they need to do. And right as they're about to bust out, he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm just like going to hang out here. You've got a great TV." Or like they all like go busting out and he's still just standing there. He goes, Excellent. Just like I was hoping, and he just starts fucking off.
I'd see that.
I see him lighting a cigar with a stack of money and being like, yeah, I guess so.
I'm Tony Stark now, bitches.
So he's got like the glove on, the Tony Stark glove.
Yes. Ooh.
Or like at the end of the movie, he's just got a bag full of shit that he keeps stealing.
He picks up the hammer. He's like,
Interesting.
Yeah.
So out of the three, let's go ahead and rank them real quick. WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, and now Loki. Where do they rank for you guys?
the easiest rank ever. Loki, WandaVision, and Falcon Winter Soldier.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
All right. Chris?
WandaVision. Mm-hmm. I really like Winter Soldier though, just because it's espionage type.
It tickled that little bit that you're.
Well, like it reminds me of Winter Soldier, the movie.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, totally.
But the only problem, is they get their asses kicked for no fucking reason.
I know it. They get their asses kicked the entire time.
I would have loved a fucking Spider-Man cameo at the end when he's like on a field trip to see the Captain America museum, and it's just like, I know you.
Yeah.
And he's just like. Like, that look like I kicked both their asses. Like,
and Tom actually is really good at kind of giving that fuck kind of quickly too.
Like they don't even have to meet. It could have just been Spider-Man and his fat buddy. Them just like staring at the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Because they're going to be in the museum anyway because they're Avengers. But he's like, didn't you kick their asses? Yeah, I did.
No, but I think I like Loki, the series, the best because I like that character a lot. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, Loki and Tony Stark are my favorite characters in the MCU because they're not, 100% good like Captain America or 100% evil like, there's not really 100%. Every villain's complicated. Even Thanos, you give him a backstory. There's
the only
a little bit of
100%
sympathy.
evil is Ultron.
Yeah.
Because he was just so cold and meticulous.
Yeah, because he wanted everything to be made of metal. Like he told him, he's like, you guys have fucked this planet to shit.
Well, he was a program too, so there's like an AI.
Well, he learned kind of like Skynet.
Yeah,
but he's a Terminator.
But there's a robot thing. There's no human element to him at all. Whereas like with Loki, there is.
Yeah,
and that's kind of why I like I still like that character so much.
I would have loved like if they do a what if a throwdown with Ultron and fucking Thanos.
Oh, dude,
that would be a great throwdown.
What if this what if cartoon series? Because they were they never fully said it wasn't going to be canon. What if this what if series?
It's based off the what if comics I have. Yeah.
Well, right, but what they never said it's not going to be like canon.
Yeah.
What if this what if series is going to be them exploring what all the multiverses were before it got molded and meshed together?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool. Being like, well, here's all the weird shit that was going on in the different timelines.
The only two people not returning to do voice work is Chadwick Boseman, of course.
Yeah.
And Miss Marvel, Brie Larson.
And Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. Well, he's doing a thing on Netflix right now, I think.
Yes, but he's not returning to do his voice acting.
No, he's retired from Marvel until 10 years later when they're going to do have him come back as a character for a big paycheck.
Not even. I guarantee you in one of these movies we're going to see the suit plop down at some point and the fucking mask is going to pop up and it's going to be fucking AI Tony Stark.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Because he filmed in his closet.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to fucking send in fucking
for $75 million.
Yeah, he's going to send in Zoom videos of him talking for them to use as an AI head because they did that in the comic books where Tony Stark dies and but he already downloaded his brain into a program, so they always have like the infinite Tony Stark kind of shit. He's like his own Jarvis almost.
Oh, yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Imagine, like, the Avengers' new suits all have, like, a Jarvis-type program, but it's a Tony Stark voice still giving them shit the entire time.
It's like, God damn
and Rhodey's even like can we not turn this off?
I'd watch that. See, you sold it now.
I would love that they not promote Zoom in the next movies. I would like to keep Skype. You know that thing that already existed before Zoom?
Zoom fucking sucks.
Skype sucks.
It's
Skype
awful.
can hear you.
I don't give a fuck. Skype can suck my dick.
Well, that's the end of the podcast, y'all. Disney Troopers are gonna be kicking in the fucking door.
But yeah, no. Honestly, my ranking is the same for Cap. In retrospect, I was a little let down with Falcon Winter Soldier. I think if they had not had to compromise as much from the lockdowns and everything else, it would have been a good series. Like if they had been able to make the series they were originally writing, I think I would have enjoyed it more. Unfortunately, even watching it first time through, even before watching review videos and shit, I had this weird feeling that they were having to make weird edits and weird choices even watching it. WandaVision, I didn't get that as much. And plus, again, kind of like, I think, again, just where we kind of differentiate a little bit, Chris, I do love that cerebral fuck with your mind kind of thing. And the thing that just had me so latched in with WandaVision, even in the black and white episodes, was like the glitches.
Yeah.
And like the jump cuts. And I'm like, oh, they're trying to fuck with us. Ooh, I'm in. Oh, fuck with me, Marvel. I'm down for this. And then they did that exact same thing at the end of Loki. With the, who are you? Are you an analyst? What department are you in? Oh, they threw us for that fuck you loop. And I'm like, all right, you had me sold. Fuck yes, I'm in. What's next?
What do we know next is coming out of Marvel other than 10 Rings? Oh, have y'all seen the trailer for 10 Rings? It looks badass.
Oh, yeah, that looks great. I've seen, it feels like at this point, because I also did watch an interview with Kevin Feige. Feige is pushing hard for theaters. It's funny as shit.
Oh, yeah, Disney's like, no. We put a boot in that.
Oh yeah, but Feige himself.
Oh yeah, because he said that about Black Widow. He said that's a fucking movie theater movie.
He straight up said, because I was watching a Rotten. Did you watch it? It was the Rotten Tomatoes interview, I think.
I saw clips of that. That's what I.
Okay, yeah. So I watched the whole thing on that. And yeah, the entire time he's like, yeah, you can rent it through Disney Plus on demand, but it is a theater movie. I highly recommend folks go out to theaters and really fully experience this. You know, but you can't watch it on Disney Plus. And that's how he was the entire fucking time.
If I was the interview, I'm like, Kevin, you gonna throw me $20 to go to the movies,
or $30 to rent it on Disney Plus?
Shit. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have to drive to the theater. I have to pay $20 for a fucking Coke. Like, it's not even that good.
But yeah, so I'm totally sold on these Marvel series, but yeah, next one coming up, I genuinely don't know. It feels like they're kind of pushing the actual movies at this point.
We'll probably get trailers here before too long.
I think What If might be next.
Yeah.
And apparently that's going to be the longest series. I think there's going to be like 10 or 12 episodes in that one.
I think that'd be a fun one to watch.
Oh yeah,
because I remember reading the What If comics. Like, what if it wasn't Bruce Banner out there? It was the girl he liked, and she became the Hulk. So there's no She-Hulk or something like that.
Oh, and speaking of the Hulk,
I gotta pee.
Talking about the 10 Rings trailer. And Feige confirmed it, even though it was just really blurry in the trailer. I feel like he's just giving fans like a little bit of like tidbits here and there, being like, fuck it, shit's been shitty for the last year. I'll give you this theory. I'll confirm it for you. Abomination.
Oh, yeah, he's coming back. Yeah, Tim Roth.
Yeah, he's going to be in that movie, and they show.
I think he's going to be in the cage fight.
They show Wong fighting him.
Yeah, I think he's going to be in the cage fight episode.
Yeah.
Because Marvel Avengers the game, brought him back.
Yeah.
Which was a cool scene because you get to play as the Hulk and you get to fight him. But for some reason, there's a mass exodus from that game. I don't understand why.
People are saying the campaign just sucked.
I love the campaign. It's a good storyline. You know, Captain America's on the moon. There's no Spider-Man trying to kill you.
Well, unfortunately, the captain is in the bathroom. We'll kind of freeform this a little bit longer. But yeah, I was totally down. I enjoy this series. I can't wait for season 2. They confirmed a season 2, and it's going to happen. So
there's going to be a season 2 of Loki.
There's going to be a season 2 of Loki. So I feel like they can kind of keep this going. You know, I'd like to see
Mandalorian. Like, I'm ready for that to come back.
Oh God, yeah.
I want my space western.
Honestly, yeah, I couldn't give a shit about them releasing any more movies for Star Wars. Just keep Mandalorian going.
If they did it like Mandalorian, yeah, I think I'd be more excited.
I don't think they could.
Like side story, like Rogue One, a side story.
Yeah.
I want to see what happened to the Boffins.
I don't think
Many Boffins they have died to get this from. I want to see them go get coffee and die. Terrible soldiers.
Oh my God.
You still haven't seen Han Solo, right?
No, I still have not seen Solo.
I watched that the other day. It was hilarious.
I still know. It's the same reason I won't watch Venom.
Oh.
You cannot make
terrible dialogue.
Not only that, but you cannot make a proper Venom storyline without Peter Parker. No. Peter Parker is an integral part of the Venom storyline.
You can do an Agent Venom.
You cannot create an origin story for Venom without Peter Parker. Agent Venom, good Venom, bad Venom, I don't care.
Would you say Venom is kind of like Joker in that aspect with his relationship with Batman, even though they kind of did with the fucking movie that came out a few years ago?
Well, if we're going to jump on a Spider-Man tangent for a second, the part of the reason Venom is such a formidable villain for Spider-Man is the fact that Peter Parker had the symbiote suit first. The symbiote suit is a living being. Thus, it can retain the information that it had with its host. So, for the fact that Eddie Brock was such personal villains with Peter Parker, that's what drove the symbiote to be attached to Eddie Brock in the first place. The symbiote is driven toward hate. So the symbiote did not react that strongly to Peter because he is a good person, so it was kind of held at bay. Once it got attached to someone like Eddie Brock with a lot of rage toward this individual person, that now fed into it and created the symbiote and made it stronger. Not only that, the symbiote now retains all of Peter Parker's memories, thus has now given it to Eddie Brock. A side thing to that is
forget about
because
the symbiote plot with all that.
yes, and the extra little stick in the nuts for Peter on that is because the symbiote was once part of him, it does not trigger his spider sense. So he is the only villain that can get the jump on Spider-Man without hitting a spider sense. So the whole beginning arcs of who Venom is as a character before he even goes down his path of redemption is built on hatred and rage towards Spider-Man and Peter Parker. Thus, in my mind, you cannot tell a Venom origin story without Peter Parker. That's like making a cake without eggs.
But they did.
And that's why I won't watch it.
You still,
Because fuck Sony. I'm not in the pocket of big Sony.
I still say you gotta. I still think you would like Enter the Spider-Verse.
I'm sure I will, and I need to. It's just I can't get over them killing Peter within the first fucking 10 minutes.
It's one of the Peters.
But yeah, there's exactly.
No, the Peter.
Yeah, because he's done. His storyline is
But
done.
he shouldn't be. That's my point. We've not gotten a storyline with Peter that's been any good yet. He shouldn't be done.
I mean, he's like kill him off, but at the beginning, but you know it's the Spider-Verse, so you know that he's like in it later on and shit, right? I know, spoilers.
It's not really him though. It's Peter B. Parker. It's not the same. It's a variant. It's not the same Peter Parker. That Peter Parker is dead. My Peter Parker is dead. That's one of the reasons why I don't really want to watch it. Is they kill my Peter Parker within the first 10 minutes.
That Peter B. Parker is fucking hilarious. So.
And yes, he is. I've seen clips of it, and it's just like, and I'm sure it's a fine movie.
Because you're so passionate about this, I really hope in the next Spider-Man movie, the end credit scene is just Topher Grace walking in with the Venom suit. Because you want it so fucking badly.
I don't want that. I don't want Topher Grace.
No, this is the meet in the middle. This is the fucking accord with Alex and Marvel and Sony. Fine, this motherfucker wants it so goddamn badly. We'll give it back to him with Topher fucking Grace. Here's your Venom.
I don't want that one. I'm fine with Tom Hardy. He's fine as an Eddie Brock. It's just, to me, you can't tell a good Venom story without Peter Parker. It's just, it's not there. It gives no true motive to that villain that I'm interested in. And because that's the reason I like even Spider-Man to start with. It's a very humanized story. You know, it's one of the more human heroes out there. And that's what makes Venom such a fun villain for him. It's just, it's the one villain that can get under his skin. It's the one that can truly get the jump on him.
Kind of like you can't make a Stanley Kubrick movie without mentally abusing the female lead.
All right, there we go. There's your Paul elbow poke there. Well, this episode will happen with Paul Rhodes at some point. Trust me,
You gotta watch all the movies, Paul. Because I have.
All of them.
Every one of
All
them.
the terrible movies, especially the one about rape and milk.
On this episode of the Couch Potatoes, I've been Alex.
This has been Cap.
And Chris, do you have any other final thoughts for us?
I think Spider-Man could take Loki.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Now look,
No, he's a trickster. He's a trickster, but he's got spider sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he knows it's coming.
Right.
But I think it's like the Hulk versus Loki. I think he's going to underestimate the fucking situation horribly and get his ass stomped. Actually, when Loki went back to that bad memory, I hoped it was the Hulk. Like every time he's like, "Who the fuck are you?" Boom, 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 boom. Back to the reality. Boom, 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 boom.